For the next event of the evening is Mr. Richard Steele. This is the main event of the night. 12 rounds of boxing for the undisputed middleweight championship of the world. Introducing in the red corner, the challenger, the WBC Super Welterweight Champion, fighting out of Detroit, Michigan, weighing 159 3/4 pounds. His professional record consists of 40 wins, 1 defeat, with 34 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Thomas the Hitman Hearns.
Very proud champion, a very dedicated champion, and he proved that. But again, this fight did not show boxing skill. It was just a matter of hard determination and a great deal of power.
But the fact is, we've seen Marvin Hagler when he does show good boxing skill.
Well, again, Barry, take a look, and that right hook put Hearns on Queer Street. Tommy here is hurt, doesn't know exactly where he is. Look at his hands. His hands are dropped, and it's a couple punches that put him down.
And Thomas Hearns is looking for a place to fall down after that right hook. It landed above the eye, it looked like, on the side of the head. It was a tremendous punch, but again, it was just that one punch on top of all the other punches.
Well, both fighters claimed it was going to end in 3 rounds, and the prediction came true.
They were absolutely right. Right now, let's go up to the ring announcer. Chuck Hull will get the official decision.
Referee Richard Steele stops the bout at 2 minutes, 1 second of the 3rd round. The winner by a TKO and still undisputed middleweight champion of the world, Marvelous Marvin Hagler.
Right now, let's go up to the ring where Larry Merchant is with the champion. Larry?
Marvin, why did you decide to come out uncharacteristically so bold in this fight?
Well, because Tommy had a big mouth. He's been woofing all through this tour. How much you gonna put me away in 3 rounds? I said, let me tell you, you're gonna get it in 3 rounds. And it came true. We both had 3rd round predictions, but I figured that I would cool off a little bit and let the knockout come. But I had power in both hands tonight, and as you know, I started off right-handed, showing him. I think I kind of confused him a little bit, and then came back southpaw and put this ammo on him.
Did you feel that you are naturally stronger and you didn't want to let him start off fast like he usually does?
Naturally, that's what he does. He sets the tempo of the fight. He relaxes out there. People are afraid of him, and I showed him that I wasn't afraid. If anybody got to be scared, you better be scared of me.
And, of course, he can't punch as hard if he's backing up.
First of all, let me say I want to thank God for giving me the strength, the courage, and the confidence to know that I can go in here and take this man out. I trained very hard, and I want to thank all my sparring partners who participated and get me in the greatest shape of my life. I felt better than when I fought Duran, and I told you one thing what I would do. I'll reverse what happened to Roberto Duran. I want him to taste and see what it feels like. He definitely tried to put the bomb on me.
How was it? Could he punch? You've been in with a lot of middleweights.
Definitely, he can punch, and I wasn't going to stand there like I told you, like a statue. I had to work on the body, didn't come up with the head.
Now, he took some of your best shots in those first 2 rounds. Were you surprised by that?
No, because I started slowing him down. He started feeling wear and tear, and I just hope that I can keep my drilling flowing and keep the pressure on him. I see that he was getting tired, and I knew that I had the opportunity in the 3rd round to put him away.
You had what looked like a nasty gash.
Yeah,
it may not be as dangerous. Now, what
I got the best man in the corner. He told me not to worry. I'm not worried. I just go out and do my job.
But the blood was pouring down your face, so did that make it even more urgent for you?
When the blood come on me, it'll make me meaner. I tell you, when I see blood, I get meaner. They better hope that I never bleed, because then I know that it's time to go to work, and I got shorter time to do it, so I got to do it fast.
You've beaten what many people consider the best opponent you've ever faced. You've now defended your title.
The winner of this fight will go down in history as the greatest fighter. I want to hear you say that a lot, because I told you a long time ago that I was a great fighter. You said, not yet. Not yet, you said. You still got to prove yourself. Well, did I do that tonight?
I'd have to say that
Hi, baby.
That's a little baby.
Yeah, see Daddy Boo-Boos?
Yeah, well, all she knows is that Daddy has some boo-boos.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what does Daddy have planned for the future? Are you going to go after Monzone's
I'm going to try for Monzone's record.
14 defenses.
Get rid of the toughest opponent out there right now. I'm going to take a little rest, let my people and I come up with something else. Hopefully, if the money's right.
Can you stay hungry with all that money in the bank?
I told you I've been hungry, and I had to keep the desire. These little girls like this, I'm waiting to send her to school, to college one day, so I got to keep pumping. In 10 years, who knows what the money will be to go to school.
Thank you so much, Marvin Hagler.
Take the baby with you. Take the baby with you.
Well, we've talked about just how marvelous Marvin Hagler was tonight. Ray, let's talk about the other side of the coin, Thomas Hearns. While Richard Steele was still over Thomas Hearns counting 8-9, you were writing a note, and what your note said was Thomas Hearns will retire. Now, was that just something you'd like him to do, or do you really feel he will?
But I think that's something he will do, because that knockout was too devastating for Tommy to swallow. So much was at stake, his career, his ego. And I think those two things will play a major role in his decision-making.
Well, time will be the judge of that. Right now, let's go to Larry Merchant, who's in the solitude of Marvin Hagler's now deserted locker room, for his final thoughts on tonight's fight.
During this thrilling, furious battle, I found my mind wandering for split seconds, wondering, could Zale and Graciano have been this good? Could Rocky have been this good when they were just making it up and winging it and landing the kind of punches you know they never land in a real fight, because fighters can't take those kinds of punches. In this fight, they did. It was one of those rare spectacles where two fighters went out to impose their wills and their strength on each other and to take risk, to risk everything, to win everything. That's why those of us who like boxing like it. We wait for these kinds of events when people at the top level give everything they have. And what we saw tonight will be stamped indelibly, and for a generation to come, I think it will be a yardstick of fighting at its most furious and thrilling.
Well, there's no question about it, Larry. It's a fight that will be etched in the memory of everyone who was there. 15,000 people on hand at Caesars Palace. And you know 10 years from now there's going to be 150,000 people who will swear that they were there at Caesars Palace on April 15th, 1985. Well, as we mentioned, with us, the champion, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, and the challenger, Thomas Hearns. No loser in this fight, believe me. Marvin, I have to ask you, when you got cut, when you sensed your own blood, did that change things for you? Did you feel at that point you had to go after Tommy?
Well, basically, there was a lot of things online there, and when you find a little blood, basically, I wasn't too worried because I know I have a great cornerman, and basically, just wanted to get back to the corner, and let him take care of it. But it did up the tempo a little better for me, and that's basically what I had to do, was to take some punches to order to get some and keep the pressure on top of Tommy, and that's basically the way you have to fight a guy like Thomas Hearns.
Well, Tom, let me tell you this first. Even though I didn't participate, I thoroughly enjoyed that first round. And I tell you, with so many punches thrown, it went both ways, side to side. Once you saw that Hagler suffered the cut, was that a target for you?
That was definitely a target for me, Ray. After I seen the cut, he was cut under the eye. That was a target for me to more so shoot for, to try to open the cut up more, for the referee to step in, to give the referee the opportunity to step in to stop the fight. You know, at that present time, you know, it was just a war. That first round, we just came out and we just really basically gave it all we had in that first round.
All right, the first round was a war. There's no question about it. Let's go back now. Watch the first round then from our ringside cameras, and we'll go through that first round with the two combatants and, of course, with the champ, our own champ, Sugar Ray Leonard. So let's go back. First round, Caesars Palace, April 15th. Tommy, did you intend for the pace to be this furious at the opening bell?
I expected it would be a pretty tough pace, but I didn't think it was going to be this fast. It was faster than I expected it to be. I figured I would come out just basically filling him out the first couple of rounds, just filling him out, seeing where I stand as far as the best punches should be thrown in the fight. And there, as you see, it came off to be a slugfest. It was just both of us going for what we knew, you know, just throwing good shots and taking good shots and coming back with some more.
Well, the way that I looked at it is this is what I had to do. As we know that Thomas always starts off very fast in every one of his fights. So basically we had to try to smother some of his punching power, especially his right hand, and keep the pressure right on Thomas.
Hey, Marvin, were you trying to silence the critics that stated that you're a slow starter, and the fact that Tommy Hearns is such a fast starter that it will be in his favor?
Well, it depends on really the style of the opponent, and with a guy like Thomas, very tall in that, as you know, for a shorter man, he definitely has to get to the inside of the much taller man. So basically, I try to work the body and just keep the pressure on Thomas, and no one likes to get hit. I think basically we had to establish our game plan and our punching power and the respect for each other in that first round.
Did Tommy hurt you?
No, I was never hurt in the fight. As you know, basically when I get hit, it only makes me come out a little bit stronger and tougher. And but I give Thomas a lot of credit because he did caught me with a lot of great shots. But you know, I figured that this is what I had to do. I had to take some in order to give some.
Tommy, what was it like? What went through your mind the first right hand that you did hit Marvin with? And Marvin says he wasn't hurt, but in all honesty, I thought you did hurt him.
I tell you, Ray, I was surprised. I was very surprised. I know that I hit Marvin with a lot of good shots, and I felt that he was hurt. That's what made me react the way that I did, because you can sense when you hit a man with a good shot, and you see how he reacts after you hit him. You know that he's hurt. And after I hit him with a couple of good shots, I knew that it was hurt, so I went on in. I started pulling it on, started adding more shots, putting more combinations together.
Now, it was right in about here that you broke your hand.
And when you see me, when I started to slow down, not throwing the right hand with as much power, that's when I have, hurt my hand. It was more, I was throwing the punch, it was more of an arm punch then. It wasn't with putting the weight behind, shifting the weight. It was more shooting with the arm. See now, you see where I'm going over there? I'm looping it to the side like a hook. I'm trying to land on that big knuckle. Take some more pressure.
As you know, this is basically just what we want, Thomas, in a slugfest with us, and that's the way that we had to, we trained for him to come out and anticipate that he would do that, and he done just exactly what we planned.
Well, if there's ever been a better round in the sport of boxing, somebody would have to show it to me. They don't come any better than that, I don't believe. How did the judging go? Well, it was mixed, as you might expect. 2 of the judges voted the round for the champion. 1 of the judges voted the round for the challenger, Thomas Hearns. How many punches were thrown in that first round? Nothing less than 165. 82 of them thrown by Marvin Hagler, 83 of them thrown by Thomas Hearns. That's the story of that round. Another interesting number, though. Thomas Hearns threw 22 jabs. You might have expected that in the first round. Marvelous Marvin Hagler, 0. And Marvin, I got to ask you about that. No jabs in the first round at all?
Well, basically, as you know, when I fought Roberto Duran, he would counter from every time that I would start to jab, and he would hit me with the right hand. So I assumed that Thomas has probably been watching some of the films and was going to try to do the same thing. So basically what I wanted to do was just establish my ground plan, try to work the body, and then get my distance together so that once I'm in the inside, and that's basically where I wanted to work.
Tommy, we all know you have a knockout punch. You know you have a knockout punch. Now, something strange had to be racing through your mind when you hit Hagler with the first right hand and he was still standing. What were you thinking about?
Well, Ray, you know that I have a knockout punch. I know that I have a knockout punch, but Marvin didn't know that I had a knockout punch. You see, throughout the whole fight, it seems to me Marvin didn't know that I still had a knockout punch.
Tommy, you had said before the fight that you thought you might be able to hit Marvin when he changes from lefty to righty. Were you able to do that at all?
At times, there was times that I was able to catch Marvin switching up, and when I saw him switching up, I was able to hit him with a hook right hand at times. And then at times, again, when he was switching up, he was able to punch off of the switch, so it probably gave me made it a little difficult for me at times.
Marv, you have a solid chin, a chin of rock. Now, you've been hit by some heavy fighters,
no,
heavy punches.
I think that's steel, right?
How would you rate Tommy punching power?
Definitely. He has a good right hand, no doubt about it. But I felt as though, which I told in the press, that Tommy was going to have to knock me out with that ring post. And I think that basically that was a psychological effect for me, and it was a good way of making it work. But believe you can see I'm still a little puffy here, but it was a good fight.
Well, Tommy, that's the only thing you forgot was the ring post. I'll tell you that.
Well, I'll tell you, I was looking for the ring post. It wasn't there.
Let's go back and take a look at round number 2. Las Vegas, Nevada, April 15th. This is the second round, and again, we talked on the air during the show itself, during the fight itself, about the pace of the first round. Now, Tommy, you said when we were talking off camera before, for all intent, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth here, but for all intent, your legs were gone by this time.
My legs, I think my legs was gone in the first round because, you know, before the fight even started, I was having problems with my legs. I was trying to shake them loose, trying to get loose. And my legs felt tired before the fight even started. And I was doing like leg exercises in the ring to try to loosen up my legs.
I have a question for both of you. This appeared to be a very emotional fight. In other words, you're abandoning your skills and you're off balance a great deal. What was going through your mind? Were you just trying to get the fight over with in the first round?
Well, as you know myself, I'm switching from righty to lefty, and I'm looking for an opening shot, and I think that I confused Tommy a little bit. So when he started moving around the ring, as you know, I would throw the outside hooks at him, still keeping the pressure on him, keeping him moving the way that I wanted him to do, and still when he stopped to try to get him to get in that slugfest with me. That's where I felt as though that I would stand a much better chance instead of staying on the outside where he can pop me the way that he's doing right now.
Marvin, I've done your last 10 fights, and again, we talked about this a little bit ago before we were on the air. I don't ever remember seeing you breathing as heavy after one round of fighting as you did against Tommy Hearns than after 10 rounds of fighting in some of your other fights. That first round, I know you just couldn't have had that much left in the tank.
I think it was just one of those fights where you had to put everything into it at that certain moment without thinking beyond that. Every round was it. So I think that you just push that body as far as it can go, and I felt as though that I was in great condition and I could have continued. No thing about it, but it was a very fast pace.
Well, Marvin, after you suffered the cut, you were so intense. Was that a sign of desperation? Did you try to just get the fight over with?
Well, yes, because I have my title on the line, and I was hoping that the referee wouldn't get in there, and I see what Tommy is trying to do. He's trying to look for the cut, you know, with the jabs and with the right hand, try to bust the cut open. So basically, I try to keep the hand down, keep the hands up and the head down, and try to protect the cut as much as I could.
Tommy, I've never seen you with your hands down. What are you thinking now?
Ray, I'll tell you, Ray, I was tired, man. I was exhausted. You know, that first round just took everything that I had, man. I was really exhausted. Going back to the first round, going back after the first round, I was saying, damn, what round was this to myself? I said, was this the 8th or 9th round? You know, because it was like I put out so much, man. It's like we went 10 whole rounds.
Did his southpaw style bother you at all?
No, the southpaw style did not bother me because I was used to working with my sparring partners, because they all was southpaw, so I was used to working with that style. I got adapted to that style.
Well, how do you feel right now? Walking back to your corner, how do you feel?
Tired.
A split decision amongst the judges in the first round. Dick Young scoring the round for the challenger Thomas Hearns. So too in the second round. 2 judges scoring the round for Marvelous Marvin Hagler, and Dick Young again judged it in favor of Thomas Hearns. So the fight still, for all intent, very much up for grabs. What about the punches? They were also very comparable. Not as many as the first round. 124 punches cumulatively between these two. 63 by Marvin Hagler, 61 by Thomas Hearns. Hagler landed more. He landed 32. Hearns landed only 26. Marvin, I have to ask you, in your corner, Goody Petronelli said to you, don't worry about the cut, just keep pumping. In all honesty, did you believe him?
Well, definitely, I realized, you know, what he meant. And that was to just keep the pressure on this guy and keep the punches flowing, you know, because we felt as though that Thomas was starting to tire a little bit. And we knew that we threw a lot of punches in that first round. Something had to give.
But Tommy, you didn't have the normal balance that you possess. In fact, one time you put both feet together. Were your legs weak? What happened?
Like I told you, Ray, before, my legs was gone, tired before I even got into the fight. And that's reason why my balance wasn't as good as it usually be. I was having problems with my legs.
Well, Marvin, did you notice that Tommy wasn't moving like he used to? Did you see he was getting weak?
Yeah, I thought so. Basically, because when I put the pressure on Thomas in the first round, he knew either you're going to have to fight or you're going to have to run like anything, and not take anything away from Thomas. I think that he fought the way that he had to. If he says that his legs were tired there, well, then that was great for me, because then I was able to find the punching range which I needed.
Well, you've seen the first 2 rounds. They were sensational. What about round number 3? That was sensational for the champion. Let's go back to Las Vegas and the 3rd round.
Tommy, at the start of the 3rd round, you looked to be rejuvenated. Did you find your second win, or is this just basically instinct now?
Basically, I have to say that it was basically just instinct. I never did find a second win. I was trying to locate it. It was somewhere in the arena, wandering around the arena. I was just basically just going to go to the box and I just move from side to side, sticking a left jab out there. And that's basically what I started off doing.
Well, as myself, you see that I'm basically now putting things together now and keeping the pressure on him. He's not moving around and not moving away from me as fast as he was in the first and second rounds.
Did his movement bother you, Hagler?
No, not much. Basically, this is what I've been doing, but the holding in the back of the head was kind of unfair, so I had to get my job done in there. I thought the referee didn't let me fight enough in the inside the way I should have been. And, you know, I was just worried about the cut. Basically, I knew I had to go ahead on and end this fight as quick as I could.
Now, what are your thoughts right here, Marvin, when Richard Steele motioned you over to the doctor?
I thought that was wrong. I thought, you know, the blood wasn't in my eyes. It wasn't serious, you know, and I could have continued. And, you know, I felt as though we had about a minute or so left in that round, so I didn't see any reason for him stopping. I thought basically he was looking more in the favor of Thomas, so, you know, I got a little upset about it.
That right hand right there seemed to start Tommy on his way. Do you agree with that?
Yes, it did, and I think I was from the southpaw style, and then I turned to a right-handed. And that's when I dropped the boom on him.
And there it is right there, a good shot.
Right here, switch right-handed, I think.
And that was pretty much that. And I won't even ask you, Tommy, at this point, what's going through your mind, because I'm sure what's going through your mind is survival.
We should tell you that the official time, 1 minute and 49 seconds, not 2 minutes and 1 second, as was originally announced. And the reason for that, I forgot to deduct the time that Dr. Donald Romeo was looking at the eye of Marvin Hagler.
And I knew I didn't make the count. I got up at count of 9. So I knew that the fight was going to be stopped because I wasn't when I did stand up, I wasn't in complete control of myself, my body.
Marvin, your first thoughts when you knew you won the fight?
Well, the first thing, I was kind of glad that the referee did stop the fight, that it was over, because I think if they would have let Tommy back out there, I probably would have hurt Tommy very seriously. And we don't need no things like that. He's doing his job out there. I got a job to do, and I think it was an extraordinary fight. And as we said, and Thomas said both, the people really got their money's worth out of that night. They came to see a fight, and that's definitely what they seen.
No losers in this fight, I have to tell you.
I think that they did come to see a good fight, and I think that they got their money worth and more out of this fight. I just hope that we can do it again, have a rematch, and be able to do it once again.
Well, for more money.
Well, it was a great fight. How good a fight? I'll give you an idea. Let's take a look at some of the final numbers. 173 punches were thrown by Marvin Hagler. 166 punches were thrown by Thomas Hearns. That is an average of 1 punch every 1.38 seconds. It doesn't come any better than that. Marvin, look into the crystal ball now. What's down the road for you?
Well, basically, I'm going to probably take another fight by the end of the year, and probably 3 fights maybe next year, and then think about giving up the game of boxing. Boxing's been very good to me, and I think that I've done an excellent job for it itself. And I'm concentrating on the movie aspect and commercials and endorsements.
Tom, you stated earlier that you were contemplating retirement. Then you mentioned rematch. Is it tough to make a decision now?
At this present time, Ray, it's very tough for me to make the decisions. I think about it pretty obviously each and every day, quite a bit, and it's just hard for me to make up my mind what I really want to do. But you know, in all due, I'm sure that I probably would love to have a rematch.
Well, Thomas Hearns, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, let me thank you both for taking the time, Tommy. I know it's not easy to go back over this ground. And to you, Marvin Hagler, great champion, great night. Thanks very much to both of you.
Thank you. I'd like to also thank HBO for giving us this opportunity to point our view of it.
Our air is your air. Let me tell you that.
Right.
Ray, have you ever seen a better one than that one?
Well, I tell you, the fans could appreciate that fight. So much class, so much determination. Both of those guys, class act.
You know, I really think when people look back on this one, they're going to say that April 15th, 1985 was the night that marvelous Marvin Hagler got his just due as a champion, and I think they're going to say Thomas Hearns was a great challenger. There were no losers in this one. We want to remind you to join us on May 5th when HBO Sports presents the not-so-great moments in sports. Our host for that one, our pal, Tim McCarver. For now, and for Sugar Ray Leonard, Larry Merchant, marvelous Marvin Hagler, and Thomas Hearns, I'm Barry Tompkins saying so long from New York. The executive producer of HBO Sports is Tim Brain. The Hagler-Hearns telecast was produced by Ross Greenberg and directed by Mark Payton. The associate producers were Rick Bernstein and Linda Jackson Christian. The associate directors, Mike Whalen and Peter DiPaolo. The production manager was Angela Mancuso. And the assistant to the producer was Dave Harmon.
I'm a fighter.